This one unit was giving us with older Sonos systems when there are... Hey, how's it going? Seth here with Air Theater Designs, and happy Friday. We're here to talk today about Martin Logan, and specifically their new Dynamo series of subwoofers. We're going to discuss the Dynamo 10, which in their lineup, you got kind of your foundation, they call it line, we'll call that good. You got Dynamo, step up, then you got the Abyss, and then you got the balanced force. And so this is kind of the high end of good, low end of better. And today's video will be sponsored by the word smooth. Very smooth. So their subwoofers in the past we've really liked a lot. Just clean sound, just smooth through transitions, you know, not hearing distortion, noise. It's just been good. So we were hoping that was going to be the case with the new ones. So what we're going to discuss will be first the specifications of this thing. We'll talk about the setup with these, and particularly, and this is something that we were very excited about, and we're audio guys, so many people might not be excited, but we were, about their ARC, which is their Anthem room correction capability, as opposed to using your calibration software that might come with your receiver or processor, which might be Wipeout, it might be Dirac, it might be Odyssey. So we'll talk about that and kind of what we heard with that. Then we'll talk about what we heard with the subwoofer, and then we'll give our final thoughts. So let's dive right in. We'll talk about the specs on this bad boy. Now, man, these things have been popular. So we went through, we did all our testing and everything, but unfortunately, right before we're about to do this video, we sold our demo. So brought to you by AI. Here is a wonderful AI, because everything's AI in 2025, right? Subwoofer. Here you go. Looks just like this. So anyways, first we got our 10-inch high-excursion, it's Friday, losing my voice, aluminum woofer. So aluminum is a good material for subwoofers. It's fast, it's light, it's very responsive. Good stuff. Big cast basket on that thing. It's quality. You got your 500-watt RMS, 1000-watt peak amplifier, so plenty of power to push this thing nicely. You've got your Vowatchko DSP brain for this. So Joe Vowatchko makes good amplifiers, good DSPs, smart dude. His design behind this, and you know, the better your DSP, the more that this thing is going to be seamless in transitions. That's kind of the idea behind that. It's a sealed design. And a sealed design for subwoofers can be a great way to go. Typically, you'll see that if you have a ported subwoofer, standalone, you might see that the specs look a little bit better. So somebody might be looking at a ported subwoofer for, say, $1,000 compared to a sealed. Like, oh, check out the specs. It goes down to 15 hertz instead of 32 hertz or something like that. Well, sealed subwoofers can take advantage of the room itself, and you can get a +7 to +9 dB correction or gain in bass. You also didn't get noise coming off the port chuffing. So sealed designs are a good way to go. We're dealing with a sealed one here. You have your ARC setup possibilities, and we'll talk about that because that was awesome, and again, very exciting to us. Going down to about 23 hertz with ±3 dB. Now, I think that they might have used that room gain with that measurement, but hit pretty low for us. And then also a very good app. And we'll talk about what a good setup app is versus a bad one. But so that's the beast. All right, this thing is roughly about 43 pounds, and it's kind of about we'll call it a 14-inch cube. There's all sorts of 3/4 and 1/4 in there. We're not worried about all that. Let's just call it a 14-inch cube. So those are the specs. Let's talk about the setup for this thing, the ARC versus Odyssey, Wipeout, and all that, and the awesomeness of their app. So first, we're going to talk about everything's got an app these days, right? Let's talk about why I say they have a good app versus a bad app. So there's a competing subwoofer brand. I won't mention the name, but unfortunately, we have a couple of them over here. So this app for this company, when you open it up for the subwoofer app, it gives you volume. I guess that's good. And it gives you 3 modes. You got your normal, you got your music, and you got your movie. Nothing else. So if you don't know much about subwoofers, that might seem sufficient. Like, hey, it's kind of cool. It's got an app. Here's why it's bad, and let's compare it to a good app. So first, when you are using a good app, in addition to your volume, you can change your frequency. So without having a way to change your frequency, and there's no knob on the bad subwoofer and bad app to change that. And if you're using something like here, we got a Model 50 from Marantz. So if you're using like a preamp, amplifier, integrated amp, where you don't have room correction software where you can dial it in, it might be set at 80 hertz or 100 hertz. There's no way to adjust that. Well, if you've got the Martin Logan Good app, you can go in and change your frequency where you want. You can go in and change your phase where you want. A lot of you people out there, you know a lot about this stuff. You know that subwoofers are very difficult to get dialed in, and you might have to change that phase from 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. You can change all your phase. You can change, well, actually, this is cool. You can do a room sweep. So a lot of times when your subwoofer kicks in, you might hear vibration from somewhere, and it's hard to tell where that vibration is coming from. Is it coming from this copper film reel thing we got over here? Is it coming from the movie night metal thing we got on the wall over here? You can't see it because you're looking this way, but there's a movie night thing on the wall. Is it something in this cabinet? I don't know. With the Martin Logan app, you can go in, do a room sweep where it goes through, does a whole frequency sweep of the room, and you can then stop it somewhere. So if you hear that vibration, you can put it right on that frequency and then go find out what the offending item is that's causing that noise. So that is pretty cool. You also then have additional crossover settings, a bypass, what's called a third order and a fourth order. So your bypass is if I'm using YPOW, Dirac, whatever, that's where it's done by your processor or receiver. But if I'm using, again, integrated amp like this guy, you don't have that capability. So you would use that third order or fourth order setting to go in, make your adjustments for frequency and such. And those just are kind of designed, they're talking about the roll off at different frequencies. You don't have to worry about third order or fourth order, but that's stuff that you see with a good app. And that's what they've got. And it's the best app of any I've seen out there with the different brands. So that's the app. Now let's talk about this whole ARC versus Odyssey things. And this is cool. So all your receivers you buy out there these days, they have some form of room correction software. And a lot of times it's viewed as kind of the panacea of, you know, I don't need to do much with my room and components and direction. I'm just going to put out this mic, run this software, and it's going to do everything. Everything's perfect. And it doesn't work that way. We've talked about it in past videos, how it misses a lot with subwoofer level, it misses a lot with the center channel level. A lot of times the rears will be off either in distance or the volume that you want. So it's not all it's cracked up to be in a lot of cases. So what we did was this. Initially, I went through and we did it on an integrated amp, and I kind of did it by ear. And I said, okay, let's see where this is at. And so I made tweaks and adjustments in the app for what I heard, and then we compared that to what ARC correction does. We then went in and we did the sub setup via Odyssey through a Marantz Cinema 50, nice, you know, $2,500 receiver. We then tested it, went through, and we then did that correction in ARC again. And we wanted to see, hey, what are the differences going to be? So check this out. It's time for a little chart time. All right, so if you check out this first chart here, this is what I did when I did the ear. So you'll see that there's a couple dips here and here, and what we heard when we were listening afterward was the bass was very good, but there were a couple areas where it was either boomy or just a little bit distorted, and in retrospect, it was tied to some of these dips in the room. When we went through and ran ARC, and we'll talk about how you do that in a second here, we noticed that those dips, you'll see how they're now gone, and immediately it sounded much smoother. It just sounded better. So again, the optimal word for this video, smooth. Stuff just sounded smooth, good, clean. People aren't going to complain about, hey, I don't like the way this bass sounds, because it just added to the music. Then we went through, said, all right, let's change direction a little bit here. We set everything up using Odyssey with the Cinema 50. We wanted to see, hey, let's see if this is any better than I was able to do with my ear, and let's see how that works compared to ARC. So we take a look at this chart. So this one here, this curve is virtually the same that when I cooked it up with my ear. So that was kind of nice. You know, hey, my ear is on par with Odyssey. But we still had those issues. We noticed where there were a couple of these dips. We heard kind of the same thing through Odyssey that we did going by ear. Then we did the arc correction, same as we saw going by ear. Much smoother, sounded much better. Arc rocks. Here's how you get arc going. So this subwoofer has arc capability. There's a mic you need to get. This little Martin Logan kit sells for about 40 bucks. You load a free app, load it on your computer. Then the way it works is you bust out a microphone, you take locations. Ethan did that. We took 5 locations in the room, pick those up. That goes to your computer. Then you hook up your computer to the subwoofer, blip, blop, bloop, zap it to it. That then has the arc configuration in the app. You just tell it, hey, I'm doing arc versus the manual setup. And you're good. And again, you just got your little mic in the box here. You get it set up. There are some other options on the market for higher-end subwoofer setup. They cost more than 40 bucks, quite a bit more. And a lot of them, it's very difficult to get going. There's definitely a learning curve where this is much easier. So we are pretty stoked by that. We're going to be doing arc setup on every subwoofer that we do for Martin Logan now because bottom line, it just sounds better. Now let's talk about kind of what we heard after making these corrections. So we did, most of the stuff we did was music-based versus movie. We did a lot of the standbys we're very familiar with. We did Foreplay, the song Chant. Right at the start, you got this big gigantic boom. All of our neighbors get a little angry when we do that. Then you have a rhythmic bass track that goes the whole way through and just incredibly smooth. And like that rhythmic bass track in our seating area here, there was some distortion around that. And we didn't hear that distortion once we did the arc setup. So that was really cool. Did some Radiohead, again, just very clean. They've got some complex music here and there. We did a little Late Night with Love kind of stuff. We did Shy. We had some Jodeci going. Very deep bass, ceiling tiles rattling and everything, but smooth sound. Just super clean. We did Sade, King of Sorrow, and it just sounds good. So kind of like the heritage of these Martin Logan subwoofers. They've sounded great for years. Now with arc capability and some of the things that they've done with their DSP, these are really good options. If you are looking to get, so we'll just call this kind of our final thoughts. If you are looking to get a subwoofer that sounds great for your home theater experience or audio, I would say to definitely audition these. And especially if you have something that doesn't have that sort of room correction where you can go in and dial this in to amplifiers, integrated amps, that sort of thing. We give it a big 2 thumbs up. Actually, how do you feel, Mark? Mark, there we go. 4 thumbs up. Ethan, we got 6 thumbs in here right now. 6 thumbs, extolling the values of Martin Logan subwoofers. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day and a great weekend. We'll see you soon.